everybody. Whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast. Got college playoffs, NFL playoffs, but I mean, I feel like we have to light this thing off with Jay's polar plunge. How was that?
Well, I'm still drying out, and I don't mean liquor drying out. I mean water drying out. Yeah, so I'll just tell you the story, man, real super quick. So I was walking down my driveway, black, no light. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. I got 2 culverts 4 foot down. I'm making the second culvert. Blue wants to go left. I tried to go right. I didn't know where I was at. So I took a natural step. Now, mind you, I'm in a robe, a thick jacket, sweatpants. I got a beanie cap on and my cold weather socks. And I took a face first plunge right into the water. Didn't even know it, Bo. Just took a step off the deep end. And like I said earlier, I had my little nice Delta 8 pre-roll that I got from the vape store for $30 freaking dollars. This was a really nice pre-roll. And I don't know where that pre-roll is now. And I wasn't so mad about the water. I was kind of laughing about the water, but I was a little pissed off about the pre-roll. That was my day. That was my day yesterday. It was cold, Bo. It was freaking cold. It's 34 degrees. It was sucked. What's up, Chris? Hope you didn't fall off a damn culvert like I did last night.
Man.
What a time to be alive, Bo. I am not, I will tell you this, I am now anti-culvert. I hate culverts.
Anti-culvert.
I don't like anything where it goes 4 feet down. I need nice level ground like a subdivision. Can I get that back? That's the only thing I miss.
Well, that'll teach you to move to the middle of nowhere.
Literally in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you can't get no more nowhere than I am. I mean, Bo, you got a problem with your telephone pole and Comcast, which I still think they need to come out and fix that craziness. I got a problem with my cow turning left when I needed him to turn right. That's my problem. So I don't know. We'll see how it
So have you started to train the dog better now because of that?
You know,
no, it was last night, right?
That dog's got a nose for days. That fucker can pick out a smell from 30 years ago. I mean, like he literally can. But no, I cannot. He is trained, you know. But when he picks up a skunk scent or a rabbit scent or a deer scent, Pax, you can't stop that 132-pound animal. You're just gonna go wherever he goes. and unfortunately, I went off into a damn culvert.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
It really is, man.
Look at you taking up swimming for 2025.
Oh yeah, I've learned to let Blue go out of the leash. Ever since Skunk Gate of 24, I typically will just let it go. But this one happened it was so fast, I just didn't have time to let go of the damn leash. I did eventually let go of the leash when I went face first into the water because Blue was at the top of the culvert.
No, well, at least you didn't drag your dog into the water.
The bad part is the dog's making fun. He's got to, you know, he don't even get that little. What are you doing? Look at this dumbass. My master is down there in the motherfucking water. I can't say that word. Down in the darn water.
The part that's the best. He probably didn't even see a bunny. He was probably just like, "Hey, watch this." He's like, I know that guy can't see, but I can.
And the worst part about it was now people are scared because it used to be people would like take rides in our cul-de-sac, you know, just do little friendship rides, whatever, you know, check out people's houses, whatever. They don't do that anymore because and I have a hard time keeping Blue in the house. But when I take Blue outside, I usually have him off leash because you know he likes to go play in the forest, whatever. That fucker, excuse me, I can't say that word. That darn person, I apologize. That darn person. When somebody comes up my alley, he will just dart running. I mean, dude, he will just, that's how protective he is. He will just dart running. And he will run, and you can see this dude half a mile coming towards you. I'm gonna get him. And I'm like, Blue, come back. They're our neighbors. Come back. And he's like, no, I'm full force. And so, yeah, Blue puts me in some really bad situations sometimes, but I love that dog.
And this is the kind of nonsense you can get right here on Coast to Coast.
And in other news,
are we going to talk about the Penn State game, or what are we doing?
Well, yeah, I guess we have no choice but to go to. You have to absolutely talk about it. It was one of the only college games that I've watched all year long, and you know, people are going to blame this on Franco, and this was not a Franco loss. This was his quarterback, who's thrown only 9 interceptions in the 3 years that he's played, I believe, throwing a very bad interception. Like it was just a very bad interception, and then them having just one play Them had one play to get into field goal range. But
yeah. Well, it's funny because that pick could have been called pass interference because one of the defenders never turned around that hit the receiver. So I mean, there was a chance that a flag could have came out on that. But yeah, it was a terrible decision anyway. You had two defenders right there.
Yeah. I mean, I just wonder. He's gonna feel bad about himself. He's got to put that behind himself. Is he going to the draft or is he coming back another year?
I mean, he does have a whole off season to put it behind him. So
I don't know though. Hey, sometimes those kind of games can stick with you a little bit though. I'm not saying it will, but I mean that's a big game. I mean that is a big game. And when was the last time Penn State was in that position? Honestly.
Yeah, man, I don't know. What 80s maybe?
Yeah, I mean it's been a hot minute, right? I mean I can't remember I'm 52 years old. I can't remember the last time they were in that spot.
Yeah, and I'm just throwing out 80s because they had decent teams then. But
right.
Who are we talking about?
Penn State.
When was the last time they were in the national championship?
Yeah, that probably is up your alleyway, Tags.
So I remember them winning it in '85.
Yeah.
That was the Miami year.
Okay.
They did win it again. I think it was a shared thing in like 88 or 90 because that was still the voting thing, and Penn State never got a lot of votes because for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
The shared national title thing was always frustrating with NCAA. They did it a bunch of times too. I always thought it was dumb.
Yeah. Well, I will say this though. Honestly, he did perform better than Leonard. He just had a really tough situation where he threw that one pick really was super costly. But Leonard wasn't any better. He threw one touchdown and 2 picks. So
I mean,
actually, I would go as far to say is that the 2 interceptions in the end zone were more detrimental to Penn State.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
I mean, that was the big deal.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Well, they both were game changers.
I mean, really, it was the one interception. The second interception got penalized back.
Right.
But I mean, that should have been. I mean, he threw 3 picks in that game. 2 only counted. But 2 were in the end zone, and that you cannot do. You cannot do that.
No, you deserve to lose if you're turning it over in the red zone.
Right.
I totally agree. Yeah,
it's too bad. I picked Penn State on this because through the last couple weeks of the season, excuse me, and the first couple games of the playoffs, they were the more disciplined team, and then in the first half, they looked great, right? Like they looked like they were going to be able to do whatever they wanted to do, and then man, the wheels just kind of fell off a little bit in the second half, and it was situational stuff. It wasn't like. It's not like they played horribly. They just had some really bad plays at inopportune times that,
Well, I mean, that last touchdown where he slipped and fell.
Yeah.
That was a bad one because it was obviously they were man-to-man coverage. He slipped and fell, and there was no relief. You know what I mean? So the other guy's going over there. He's trying to take a good angle. The guy stops and does a little deke, and he slips because he had to turn on a dime, and they were slipping all over the place yesterday. I don't know if anybody noticed that they were slipping a lot. So that's not an excuse or anything. Everybody's playing on the same field, but
the field conditions did look kind of bad.
Well, yeah, even if you look at the rushing yardage, excuse me, Notre Dame only had 118, but they were averaging 2.9 yards a play. I mean, that's dismal. If Notre Dame goes into Ohio or Texas, depending on whoever wins that game, with 2.9 averaging, I mean, they're not going. That's not going to get it done. That is not going to get it done. Well, and that's what Penn State was actually averaging 4.9. I mean, Penn State was actually running the ball pretty decently.
Well, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean,
even in the second half, it was weird that they got away from the run.
Yeah.
It was like they chose to pass. And I mean, that's how they came back. I mean, it was 17 unanswered points. It really was 2 touchdowns in the second half where they scored on that first drive. and then went down the field long. It took long term. But Penn State was actually doing much better at that. Truth be told, now it's like obviously that one interception at the end of the game, really solidified it all. But he should have taken the sack there. He really should have.
Yeah,
For sure. Absolutely.
You could tell he forced that issue, and he saw the guy, but he also had to see the two defenders because they were really all over him.
At least one of them, right? I mean, you had to at least see the guy that was basically going to pass interference. Exactly. I mean, he was literally blocking the view of his guy. He may not have seen the safety coming from the side, but he sure should have seen the guy that was standing directly in front of him.
So, yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Obviously, I can't blame Franco for this one. Although Penn State people will blame Franco. I think they had a pretty good game plan. They were doing what they were supposed to do. They got away from it in the second half a little bit, but then went back to it.
Yeah.
And so I can't blame. Okay, you can't. The coach can't throw the ball for the quarterback.
Right.
And you got to trust your quarterback that over the however many seasons, only thrown 9 interceptions, decides that he wants to throw 3 today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe the pressure got to him a little bit or whatever, but I think that it has more to do with, that Notre Dame's defense is a really good defense, and they got away from what was doing best for them. You know what I mean? I think it's, they were running the ball. They were running the ball really well. They knew certain tendencies, and they went against some of their tendencies. I mean, how many 4th downs did he make?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was 4 for 4 on 4th down. 4th and 2s and stuff like that. And like all the tendencies that he was doing, he was going against his tendencies, and they were making 1st downs.
Yeah, Penn State was 2 for 2, and Notre Dame was 0 for 0. They didn't even try. But yeah, I mean, they were converting on. Now the 3rd down efficiency was pretty atrocious for Penn State. They were 3 for 11, and Notre Dame was 11 for 17. I feel like the defense up until that 4th quarter for both teams was actually doing pretty well. And then once that 4th quarter came, it was 17-14 in favor of Notre Dame. But both of those defenses just kind of relaxed a little bit when from what they were doing in the first 3 quarters.
That score doesn't
was
seem
ever
right.
17-14.
Yeah, that score's not right. Because
it was 17-17 at one point, and then 24-17 Notre Dame.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
they tied it up
and they scored 10. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the actual score was 17-10. Or 17-14. I mean, they scored.
Yeah, because it was 17-10, then it was 17-17.
Yeah.
And then 24-17, then 24-24.
Exactly.
And then what did it end? 27-24, right?
Yeah, late field goal.
No, but what I'm saying is in the 4th quarter, just that one specific quarter, it was 17-14 in favor of Penn State. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, it wasn't. It was never 17-14 Penn State. It was 17-10.
Notre Dame. I'm sorry. Notre Dame.
Notre Dame
is right.
Yes.
At 17-10.
Yeah.
And then Penn State scored
17-14 in favor of Notre Dame.
That's the 4th quarter. That's how many points you scored in the 4th quarter.
That's what I've been saying like 3 times.
Oh,
yeah, but that was only points scored in the 4th quarter. It was never the score.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm just saying the defense is relaxed in that 4th quarter because they scored a whole hell of a lot in that 4th quarter.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I was not getting what you were laying down there at all.
It's okay. I probably said it wrong anyway. I'm still got a concussion and stuff, so we're.
He's got water on the brain.
Hey, at least when you went down, you were already icing it.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. Hey, whew. I heard cryogenic freezing, but that's ridiculous. What's up? You can't say the rest. What's up to the rest of us? What is Philly sports guy? He's the only one that fucking matters.
Right? Yeah, he's tuned in from his channel. He's like, none of the rest of these guys matter. He's probably zoomed in on the screen where he only sees Pags.
But anyways, now we have tonight Ohio State
Yeah.
versus Texas, and this is like a home game for Texas, is it not?
Yeah, it's at AT&T Stadium. Yeah. It's only an hour or so away from from Austin, right? I mean, it's a very short drive for those guys, So, and you got to imagine they're going to have the dome closed because I think it's supposed to rain up there. So it's going to be a closed up stadium. No wind, no rain, no cold, nothing like that. There's no, weatherly type interferences. So it should be just a straightforward game. And it's just going to come out and see who wants it more because it's going to be a level playing field for both teams.
And I was going to say that field should be great because the Cowboys haven't really played anybody. Anybody.
Read between the lines, Pags. Read between the lines.
When you have 4, that means I'm reading between. I don't get it.
I can't hold the picture.
No.
He's
doing this because that's how many points they're scoring. None.
I can't do it. I can't get the way to figure it stay down. It's always going to be a Cowboy. Look, it's okay. Come in. The water's warm. I mean, we're already talking about getting McCarthy back. They're talking about going into contract talks today. So,
well, they have to because he can start talking to other teams early next week.
I know, Bo. I'm just hoping that he won't accept.
No. They're going to elevate
Dallas.
They're going to elevate Zimmer. It's going to be great.
Well, no, yeah. I heard they asked for permission to talk to Kellen Moore.
No, they did not.
Oh, let's go.
I mean, that'd be horrible. That'd be funny if they did, but
I mean, Joe wants him back. So there you go.
Joe, I don't understand why you want this man back. What has he done that makes you want him back? I know he's 12-5, whatever, but come on, man. We ain't made it past the first round of playoffs in 30 years. You want this guy back? Come on.
So
I feel like 20 of those years kind of weren't his fault.
No, I know that. I'm just saying. But I'm saying he's the type of coach that just continued the legacy of hell.
I don't know that you're going to.
He didn't do something to change that legacy of hell, right? I mean,
yeah, that's called Jerry not being the guy anymore. Because clearly the coaching doesn't matter.
I wish I could just get a time machine and go back to when Jimmy Johnson was there before they had that conversation at the bar, was turned everything awry. I wish I could have just interceded and said, Jerry, let me just tell you, if you let this guy go, it's going to be 30 years of hell. Maybe you should
just go back and smack the hell out of him. Like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just get the young Jerry to slap the hell out of him.
Treat him like your dog, right? That rolled up newspaper, bop him on the head.
Like, Jerry, don't do it. Don't do it.
Bad Jerry.
Anyways, tonight's game, just so that we can finish up with this, so that we can go to professional football.
Exactly.
Ohio State is a 6.5-point favorite against number 3 Texas.
Yeah, Texas ain't never going to get that love, man. They're always going to give it to the other team. Texas does not get the love, man. They're not going to get the love until they win a damn championship.
Yeah, I mean,
you look at that team. You can't tell me that Notre Dame. Yeah,
which Ewers are you going to get?
That's a good point. Well, you know, it's not even so much the Ewers; it's the game plan of Sarkisian. You know, like he did a terrible job against the first game of Georgia. He did a little bit better job against, the second game against Georgia. But it's really going to be how well is Sarkisian going to have this team prepped and ready to go to face this Ohio State?
Well, no, because Ewers has had those games where he's thrown multiple picks, and if you do that against Ohio State, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of their quarterback situation. I don't know. That's hard. I mean, Ohio State chokes just about as much as anybody else has. I mean, they've been up there several times in the top 5. They've never been able to get the job done. So I'm hoping that legacy will continue going into this situation.
See, I actually like the Longhorns for this game, and only because of the way Ohio State beat Oregon.
Right.
Because a lot of times when you have a blowout, a big emotional win, there's an energy letdown the next week.
Right.
And the Longhorns had to fight their way past Arizona State, rather. So I feel like this game is going to be close. Even if the Longhorns lose, it feels like a game they would cover.
Right.
This kind of feels like a situation where it would be a lot like the Penn State Notre Dame, where it'll be down to the last minute field goal kind of game. That being said, whoever wins this game, I think wins it all.
I think if the Longhorns want to take this game, they're going to have to get pressure on the quarterback on defense and disrupt him up a little bit. And they're also going to have to get Blue and Weisner in that run game. They're going to have to get those guys going early to set up Ewers, so he's not having to deal with those double coverages or what have you to throw the pick. If they can get that run game going and get to the Ohio State quarterback, then we have a really good shot at taking that one.
All right, Scott. I mean, I don't hate that.
I just hope
then it would be really nice if he had that on both sides.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm agreeing with Wen. What is this week coming to?
I'll tell you what.
The
only thing that make this week perfect is they renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Yes.
They did that this week?
No, I just thought it was kind of funny. They were talking about renaming all this stuff. It's just kind of funny. Like, what the hell?
That makes no sense.
Bo,
I don't care.
Doesn't make sense.
People are going to call it whatever they want to call it. That warm water below Louisiana.
That's right. That hurricane factory.
What? Woo. Boy, if you want to call it the Gulf of Swamp or the Dirty Gulf, that'd be probably a more fitting name, to be honest with you. I'll tell you
about
this,
the Gulf made by PSG's Comet.
Yes. Yes. Because you murdered the dinosaurs.
That was me. So, anyways, I have, I hate Ohio State. They are probably number 3 on my list of hates. Like it goes Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State.
I got Michigan right underneath Ohio State. No, actually,
they're close. They're very close to each other. I mean, again, I just don't put as much stock in college football in general.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not as the same for me. It's like
Alabama reminds me of Dallas fan bases. Like, how everybody, like me and Bo were talking about this the other day, how like Dallas is so much hate because of the fan base, which is not wrong. I look at the same thing. I look at Alabama as kind of the same way. They got the most horrible fan base, man. I can't tell you. If I hear the word Roll Tide one more time, I swear I'm going to come to my mind. But
what are you talking about?
Alabama for me is number 1 hate.
See, I don't know about that because, I mean, clearly they don't academics isn't that important at Ohio State. I mean, they need a buddy to help spell a 4-letter word. OH.
It's only got three types of letters: O, H, and I, and then the O repeats and stuff. So I mean, it's not too hard. I mean, it should be pretty.
And yet
easy.
they need friends to pull it out. So I don't know. Oh man.
But yeah, I put Alabama's at the top of mine, and then I probably would have Georgia, Clemson. I just don't like too much of those East Coast teams. And I guess it's because
I hate Clemson because they cost me a lot of money one time.
What?
And I have not forgiven them. I have not forgiven them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any real hate for college teams. I just don't care that much on the college level. Like I'm definitely more of an NFL fan.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously I root for my Huskies, and naturally you want the Ducks and Washington State to lose to them, but I don't have any like irrational hate for teams.
I mean, my irrational hate comes from the fact that
even like what we talked about the other day is I don't even hate the Cowboys. It's just the fan base is annoying.
No, I understand. I totally get where you're coming from with that. I mean, I got a hatred for the Cowboys, but for the owner of the Cowboys, not the Cowboys. The Cowboys are my team, but like let's talk past that day. You can pick your team, you just can't pick your owner, man, and that's the only downside to it, right? I mean,
yeah, Scott, 100%.
And Scott, I hope you cost some more money because I need my Longhorns to win. That's gonna hurt you, but it is what it is, Bubba. No hurt.
And Chris, we did talk about the wildfires yesterday, and obviously, we hope everybody's safe out there. And it is crazy that they're going to have to move the game, but man, yeah, watching the footage, the fires are crazy.
Looks like Arizona's going to get that game. I know that guy put Vegas in there, but when I was reading, it looks like Arizona's where they're looking.
Yeah, they wanted to move it to Arizona specifically. It's actually closer to them than Vegas is.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're trying to get as many fans as they can out that way. obviously it's such a big deal, and it's I was watching something, and I won't dwell on this very long because obviously it's not something that's good conversation. I was watching something today on Instagram with Paul, not with Rogan,
Oh, okay.
and he was saying, like, he had a guest on, and that guest was saying that it's only going to be a matter of time before a fire gets started in the right spots, and it's just going to destroy Los Angeles.
Sure.
So this was something that they kind of knew a little bit. That was just like they're waiting for the winds to happen a certain way and stuff like that, and
I mean, it
and
happened
now
in
they're
Seattle.
saying that fire may have been arson.
Well, there's more fires
Yeah,
getting
I was
started
hearing that
by
too about the
arson.
arson part. I was seeing, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, as it's going, there's different ones around LA that people are starting currently.
Right.
So, like, which is wild to me. But I mean,
I don't know why you'd want to do that. Like, what's going on out there in California? Are they smoking something that they shouldn't be smoking? I mean, like, why are you lighting your city on fire? That don't make no sense.
Seattle burned to the ground once. That's how the underground tour is a thing.
Yeah, well, think of Chicago.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
Chicago that had a full fire. I mean, at one point, London burnt down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
Atlanta burnt down back when in the Civil War when Sherman torched the city. I mean, I get those.
That's
I mean,
that's
wartime. I mean, I get that kind of stuff, but I don't. Yeah, I don't get the civilians though doing it in their own city. I mean, like, what? I don't know. It's a different world we live in.
Seattle wasn't a wartime thing either. But
no, yeah, I don't know much about Seattle.
I wonder how much of it, like, again, I don't know the situations for anybody else, but I know that there are some times when they have these wildfires that they do control burns to be able to have a fire before the fire catches that so that it can stop there.
Correct.
But they have to have it very controlled. You with a garden hose ain't going to control it.
No, it will not.
That's kind of what it is that I want to make sure to let people know. You are not going to control a control burn around your house. It doesn't work that way.
No.
You're better off taking your hose. That's what I said. For some of these people, it's time to turn the water on, put out as many sprinklers as you can, and have it facing your house.
Spray your house down.
And spray your house down nonstop. Nonstop. The problem is that the water pressure is going to come real low because the firefighters are using it.
Well, and that's actually one of the big problems is they're saying that a bunch of the hydrants aren't even working.
That's crazy. Right. I mean, they have been maintenance. They probably haven't been either. They've been maintenance or like you said.
No. It's because they're trying to use so many of them. They don't have the water pressure.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And for whatever reason, they haven't released the water from the reservoirs. Oh, okay. So they're actually running out of water for the hydrant.
You know, what's interesting to me is even like where I live, right? So our neighborhood is bordered by 2 national forests. So everywhere I live is just all forest. But we have fire breaks in between, like it runs behind all the houses. So you got multiple fire breaks all throughout the neighborhood so that if it does catch fire, it should dead in right there.
So in this scenario, even there it wouldn't because of the winds. Because
I got you. The winds are so high.
The winds are so high that it would jump any of those fire gaps.
I guess it's not really too much you can just do about that. I mean, it's going to happen.
There's not. I mean, we end up with fire. We here in Washington, we have what's called fire season because we have forest fires literally every year. And so some of those, when we get the high winds, it does an immense amount of damage.
But where are these fires?
That's what it is. It's the 40-mile-per-hour winds that they're having. It's not the fire itself. It's the winds that's carrying the embers, having them land on houses and
start new fires.
Correct.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, it's it's unfortunate, and I mean, obviously, it's continuing to get worse because the wind hasn't let up. So, once you have all those winds, there's really not a lot they can do. Like they're going to go out there, they're going to fight as best they can to try and minimize. But until the winds die down, you're going to lose that battle.
Yeah. I really feel bad for those people, man, because I cannot even imagine what it's like to watch your house just go up in flames. I can't even imagine.
And the devastation is immense.
Yeah, that would just blow my
mind. You know what, though? It made me wonder a little bit about the same thing with Hawaii. The pictures look very similar to Hawaii.
Yeah,
except,
Hawaii
except here the houses are like the houses here are like gone.
They
Like-
were in Lahaina as well, because we actually went there. It was like 2 months after it burned. It was when we were there because it was March, right? So and yeah, those houses were just foundations and ash. That's it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I remember when I went to Fort Huachuca for some training out there, and I think it's in Arizona. They there was a mountain behind the fort there, and it's just all burnt. I mean, the mountain's black, all the trees are black, and that was the first time I've ever seen anything that's been burnt by a fire. Period. And when you're walking around, nothing but thousands of acres that are burnt. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the amount of devastation, and that's just an open fire. I can't imagine people's houses and stuff. I mean, Jesus, I don't know. I don't even know where the firefighters would start with.
And on that note, on the backside of these ads right here, we will talk about sports yet again. If you are here in the Pacific Northwest and you haven't joined a gym yet, True Fusion Gym is probably the one you need, whether it's Bellevue, Ballard, or University Village. Use the QR code on the screen right there. Get a free 5-day pass at any of those, because that's really probably all the longer most of your resolution gym memberships are going to last. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. And then, of course, if you're into sports betting, which this is the weekend to kick it off, if you haven't done it before, use this QR code right here. Up to 125% of your first 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee if you happen to be bad at it the first time you do it. Again, use that QR code on the screen, BetUS, right here with Coast to Coast. All right. Let's get into these NFL games.
Let's go. Starting on Saturday. First game is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, they're going to be playing in Jay's backyard in Houston. Hopefully they won't fall into the ravine. And the Chargers are -3 against the Texans.
Yep.
Thoughts? And we're going to do picks because we're going to pick them. I'm going to write them down, our picks.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, I do like the Chargers here, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have a top 2 defense, and the Texans have not played a particularly great brand of football. So you have an offense with the Chargers that can put up 30 points a game. You have a top 2 defense against a rookie quarterback, a little bit in a slump. I like the Chargers here.
Jay?
Yeah, if this had been last year and everybody was healthy and everything's going the right way, I'd pick Houston in this game, especially since it's a home game for them. But like Bo was saying, look, Tank Dell's out with injury. Stephon Diggs is out with injury. There's you got a lot of injury issues that they got going on with that team. Like you said, that defense is kind of taking a step back a little bit, which I don't like. Justin Herbert is playing really good football right now. As long as there's no injuries that happen to the Chargers during the game, I don't know that Houston's lost a lot of firepower. Now they got they still got Nico Collins and they got Schultz, but I don't think and Mixon. That's really kind of about all they have. So because of the injuries that Houston has sustained, and I think that because of the momentum is right on the side of the Chargers, I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one as well. I hate to say it, but I'm going to go with them.
So I am going to go against both of you there. I wanted to see, I was going to type up real fast, home dogs in playoff settings. What's the record of the NFL home dogs in wild card set weekend? Home teams are 24-13-1 against the spread. 23-13-1 against the spread. I'm going with the Texans. I think that being at home makes a big deal. I think that they are beyond where they were a couple of weeks ago when they got their asses handed to them by Kansas City. I think that the Chargers are good, but I think that, not for nothing, I think the Fires are maybe weighing on their minds a little bit too. You know what I mean? And I think that that's all going to play. So I like the Texans.
Steve-O, the Texans are at home.
So
you can make that same argument about when Katrina happened and New Orleans Saints went through that part and they went on to win the Super Bowl. I mean,
well, yeah, but that was a whole different scenario. That was done, and they were trying to pick up a city.
Yeah,
and the city got behind them. This is active.
that's
Yes.
true.
Different scenario. I hate to use that as
The catalyst,
a potential mindset for a loss, but listen, I mean, it's like these guys live out there. They're going to be concerned about this themselves. So it's like I got to imagine this is
some of them have already lost their houses.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to weigh on them a little bit more, and I just got Texas winning or the Texans winning this game. The other game, however, I am not so sure about in terms of whether everybody's going to choose one way or the other, and I expect that we will. Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. Baltimore is a 9.5-point favorite, down from 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. The hell was that?
Wasn't me either.
It wasn't me. We got phantom rings. Where's that guy at? Is he around here somewhere?
Right? That was. I don't know what that was. That was. I mean, okay.
This definitely came from your house, though.
Maybe.
What you got going on over there, Bo? You playing video games when we're doing the show? What you got going on?
Well, I mean, I'm just bored over here. It's fine.
So I definitely have the Ravens here. I think the Ravens destroy Pittsburgh. I think that Pittsburgh has not played well for about the last 4 or 5 weeks, probably since they played the Eagles, and they didn't play good then. And I think that it's Ravens by a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Ravens definitely win. I don't know if they cover, right? This is a divisional matchup. And although the Steelers have backed into the playoffs here, right, losing, 4 in a row, I think they keep it close and interesting, but I do think the Ravens win overall.
Yeah. So Ravens, you got them not covering. So you got Pittsburgh plus the 9.5.
I got Pittsburgh to cover, got Pittsburgh covering, but I have, if we're going straight up, I have the Ravens winning. And yeah, it sounded like some breaking news. I have no idea where it came from, though. It's probably one of the random.
Yeah, I feel like, look, when you got Derrick Henry, who was only literally less than 100 yards away from $2,000 on the season, and you got Harris, just a little bit over $1,000. And then we look at the comparison. You got to look at the quarterbacks. Wilson's got just under 25, and then Jackson's got almost 42, and then the disparity of touchdowns 41-4 for Jackson versus Wilson at 16-5. I mean, there's a lot of things there, right? I mean, Baltimore's already close last year, and I think Mike Tomlin's done a great job with Pittsburgh keeping them competitive, but I think it's going to be the Ravens, and I don't think Pittsburgh does cover. I think Pittsburgh gets
here's my issue, and this is why I think they cover.
Okay.
Is Harbaugh has this tendency to try and outcoach himself, right? Like he overthinks things, kind of does that Kyle Shanahan thing. Think back to last season when they got into the playoffs. They had 6 running plays to running backs.
Right.
The best running team in the league decided to have 6 called runs to running backs.
Right. And I see what you're saying there. And you're right. If Harbaugh's smart, he'll give the ball to his bell cow that's got almost 2,000 yards, or let his quarterback, who's a really good running mate himself, and just keep on the ball, keep on the ground, let Derek do what Derek and Lamar do what they do on the ground, and just do that ball control movement. Keep Pittsburgh's offense on the sideline as much as possible.
It's not an isolated incident, though. If you look back to the games they lost this year, Derrick Henry had less than 16 carries.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's going to have to use the bell cow and really run the game. The offense should go through Lamar and Henry.
Agreed. I just don't trust that he'll do it because we've watched him not do it.
That's a good point.
I heard a little rumor, though, on why. that is a little bit, that Henry likes going out, and that sometimes he might be a little hungover.
Okay. All right. Well,
Now, I wasn't there. I'm not breaking news here. I just heard from Ravens fans, from a
Okay.
Ravens fan. Like, it's when I asked, like, you talk to them, he's like, yeah, it's because he likes going out a little bit.
all right. I mean, if he's a
Which
little,
makes sense that, he's fine, and we just didn't use him right. We'll take the responsibility. It's on me, blah, blah, blah. Truth of the matter is that, hey, listen, you better be there for curfew if you want to go to the Super Bowl there, Henry, because I don't remember you having a ring on your finger.
yeah, no, I mean, he better be locked in.
Oh yeah, no,
Right?
no,
Like
no
that's
doubt.
the real. That's the real. And I think that especially as Linda or Mac mentioned, Flowers being out, you're going to need every bit of him.
Oh,
I don't think.
absolutely.
I think that Pittsburgh is starting to disintegrate. I thought this year might have been the year, and I don't look at this like Dallas, where last year I said that I thought they were going to implode, and then this year they did implode. I don't look at it like that. I just look at it as I feel that the locker room isn't as strong as it's been in previous years for Tomlin, and that's going to play a part here. So,
Yeah, I think if I'm Baltimore though, if I'm amped on the ball, I like Isaiah Lively or Light. I can never get that guy's next name right, but you know what I'm talking about. The one that's a tight end, but he lines up usually as a wide receiver. If they could get the ball to, yeah, there you go, Isaiah Likely. Thank you. If they can get the ball to him, I think he could be a big one because I remember when they went up against when it was Kansas City, Baltimore would have beat Kansas City. Had that one toe been one more inch into the end zone, that would have been a win for them.
So had he been wearing white shoes, they might have won.
Yeah, you know. Hey, you know what? The funny about White Shoes, Billy White Shoes Johnson, with the Oilers played the Steelers that year. You know, they called him out because he had white shoes. But when they went back, when replay came into the world and they reviewed that play, it was actually the Oilers that won that game. But because his shoes were white, they couldn't differentiate, so they called him out. But yeah, I think the ball goes through Likely. I think that if I think he's an X factor in that game. Because everybody's going to be counting on Mark Andrews, especially like you said, since Flowers is out. And he had a monster game against Kansas City.
I think it's going to be a fun game, though. Like, it's going to be a good watch.
I agree. Then we get into Sunday's games, where the first game is Denver versus Buffalo. And Buffalo is an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo all the way. Although I do like what Sean Payton is building out there in Denver. I really think he's got he's got an emerging team out there, but I don't think they're going to be enough to get past Josh Allen and company.
Yeah, a rookie on the road, first playoff appearance. I don't think it goes particularly great, especially against a Buffalo team at home. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. That just sounds like a big Josh Allen game.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go with the Broncos come up short here. Sorry, Mary, probably not your Broncos.
Yeah, Mary's going to go to a game. And Mary's going to be at that game. She's she is a Broncos super fan, so she's flying from Denver into Buffalo. I told her to dress warm, and unfortunately, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like your Super Bowl was last week. That you guys slaughtered the Chiefs, even though that was their backups or whatever, because you wanted to get in the playoffs. I think that you guys are happy that you're in the playoffs and that this is something that he's going to be able to build on for next year. But this year is over. I think
if there's one bright spot for Denver, if there's one bright spot for Denver, is their defense. They got the number 2 defense in the league right this year. And that's going to be there. If they do have a shot in hell at beating the Bills, that's going to have to be that defense that really, puts down the pressure on Josh Allen and company. But even with that said, like you said, I think the Bulls are going to take that game.
That stat line is probably actually fairly accurate.
Yeah.
The thing that's funny though is I do really like the Broncos defense. Like their defense has been awesome all year.
Oh yeah, they've been on my fantasy team. I was loving the points they were getting me. I mean,
their defense has been fantastic. Obviously, Bo Nix has really come on as the year has gone on, but they're just not going to have enough to get past the Bills.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think you're right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Mary. It's like I said, but you are going to be there for a playoff game, and it's been a while since the Broncos have been in the playoffs. So congratulations on that. Even though the Chiefs threw that game so that you guys could get in, so that Cincinnati would not get in, but that's okay.
Man, there's no love for Mary. You just giving it
No, I love Mary to death. I love Mary to death, but she knows. She understands. This is not listen, you got a rookie quarterback, you got a coach there who's now turning the page here a little bit from previous Broncos to the new Broncos. Right. So this is going to be something that they're going to be able to build upon, but they're going to have to start building upon it next year.
Look, there's nothing better than experience. And Bo Nix is a rookie, just like Stroud did last year. You can't beat playoff experience, even if you don't win. The fact that you get there and you're experiencing the environment and what it looks like, that's a huge thing.
I mean, I don't know if that's true, Joe. I mean, you got to keep in mind Denver does play where it's cold, so it's not like it's going to be completely unheard of for them.
Right. The next game at 4:30, a game that I will be attending, is Green Bay versus Philadelphia. This is the dreaded number I can't stand. Philly is a 5-point favorite.
I'm still rolling with the Eagles here. Obviously you're going to have Hurts back. I'm curious what the elbow injury to Love and
that's what I was worried about.
The thumb injury to Willis. I think those are some issues that will be issues, right? Like especially an elbow injury on your throwing arm. Your guys' defense has gotten better each week during the season.
Well, you guys were talking about the number 2 defenses with the Chargers, the number 2 defense with the friggin' Broncos. The Eagles got the number 1 defense.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only place that the Chargers
I thought Minnesota had I thought Minnesota was at number 1.
Not after they had 4 touchdowns against the Lions.
That's true. I give you.
But yeah, no, this is going to be Philly the whole way. And then of course they have the advantage of the fact that it's a home game. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. That'll be another fun game to watch. But I got the Eagles all the way.
Yeah.
Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a sneaky suspicion that Love is going to play, but Christian Watson's not playing.
Love's playing. Huh? Yeah, Love's going to play.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But then
Watson's not.
Watson. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so the fact that their big receivers out.
Yep.
And Philly really is finally playing really good football. Compared to what they were last year this time. So this year they're really primed. So I'm definitely going with Philly. I don't think, and I had the Philly in the Detroit in the NFC. So yeah, there's that.
I feel the same way. 5 points or not, it's certain things are meant to be broken here, but
way to show
look who decided to show up.
I've been on a damn call with Harbor Freight Tools for the last 2.5 hours out of California. All right. That was the longest business call I think I've ever had in my life.
They liquidated to get out of the fires. What are the...
No, they're interested in doing running an ad for the company that I work for, and we sell ads into 8 different markets. So we literally had to discuss every single market separately. I had to break everything down for them. I had to go through the cost of everything because each market is priced differently, and then they had a bunch of other questions. It ended up an hour phone call turned into be 2 hours and 27 minutes.
Wow. All right.
You get paid by the hour? Hopefully you get paid for that.
Anyway, let's wrap these games up.
Salary.
Oh, I didn't get nothing.
Let's wrap these games up since we only got 5 minutes here.
All right. So we got last game on the list. We're going to miss you, Dustin, until the very end, and you're going to give me all 6 of yours.
That's fine.
So you're just going to listen right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Washington versus Tampa. Tampa is -3.
I like Tampa at home. Even though Washington has been winning games down the stretch, I like the way that Baker and company are winning these games, even though nobody is on that team. Mike Evans is there, but I mean, it's they're they feel like they want it more than probably anybody else. Now you're going to have a Baker game probably next week where he makes a bunch of mistakes in the route. But I think the first round, again, going against a rookie quarterback, first appearance in the playoffs, this just seems like it's primed for Tampa to win at home.
Yeah, my thing is, now that Dan Quinn is out there in Washington, I know he's going to have his defense ready to go for that Tampa game. I really feel like that. And then Dayton Daniels is playing extremely well. But I really like McMillan. I like what McMillan is doing in the absence of Godwin. And I really think he's going to be a huge factor in that game. And so because of that, I like Baker. Man, Baker has that team charged. They're ready to go. The momentum is all there for them. Everybody is digged in for this game and focused. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to go Tampa on this. I think they pulled that one out. And then next week could be a different story. But I think this week Tampa's going to take it as well.
Got Rob with Washington.
I actually have Washington winning this game. I think that it's that Tampa, although they've been playing really well, I think Washington's defense is actually pretty good, even though like they are a fourth quarter team. They like to come back on teams. I think Washington actually upsets Tampa. I don't really care about whoever wins this game because the truth of the matter is if Tampa wins, we play them. If Washington wins, we're going to play the winner of the Rams game. So it doesn't matter to me, but I kind of suspect that it's going to be Washington that wins this game.
Well, Vegas giving you 3 points means that they don't really know either way. That's your standard home field advantage.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I never like teams where their quarterback is their leading rusher. I never like that.
I understand.
Yeah.
And last game, Minnesota is -3 versus the Rams at Arizona.
Yes. Yeah, I'm still I'm on the fence here. Like I think the Rams, if there's any lasting effect from Darnold getting beat up last week, then I think the Rams get this. I'm still taking the Rams either way, just because of the experience on that team and the fact that they're healthy at the right time. So I'm going to go with the Rams at home-ish, but this one could be a coin flip to me. But I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, I think this is actually the game where I actually think that game where they got blown out with the 4 touchdowns, I actually think that's a game that helps the team because when they get their butts kicked like that, you got to think they go in there, they're pissed off, they're refocused. I think Brian Flores is going to get that defense re-energized, get them re-game plan. I think Jefferson and Darnold, I think Darnold's going to be okay. So I'm going to go Minnesota in this one.
I mean, they are the better team across the board.
Yeah.
No question.
And I'm going to go with Minnesota for similar reasons that I'm going with the Texans. I think that that's going to start to weigh on them a lot more than what you suspect. So I got Minnesota -3 on that. Dustin, real quick.
Yeah.
Chargers, Texans.
Chargers.
That's Chargers -3. So, all right. And then Pittsburgh, Baltimore 9.5.
It's going to be a closer game than that, but I'm still going Baltimore.
Baltimore to cover?
Yeah. No, Pittsburgh to cover. Pittsburgh's going to cover the 9.5, but Baltimore's going to win.
I think we're all there.
All right.
What?
And then Buffalo and Denver. Buffalo is -8.5.
Buffalo to cover.
Okay. And then Philly, Green Bay, and Philly is -5.
Philly to cover.
Washington, Tampa Bay -3.
Washington to cover, but Tampa Bay to win.
I think it's a 1-point game.
28-27, 31-30 type of game.
I think it's going to be like a 1-point game too. I think I got Washington +3. That's how I would cover that. But I think they win it outright. But I think it is going to be close.
I think Tampa Bay wins just because of the playoff experience by Baker Mayfield. But I think it's going to be like a 1-point game where Jaden Daniels has a chance to win the game late and turns it over.
And do you think that the Rams are going to get within 3 points of Minnesota?
I'm going to call it. I think it's going to be a 3-point game. I think Minnesota wins by 3 in overtime.
In overtime. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Just
So,
because-
and
Busting out that Wild Wings remote. I like it.
Well,
he's
just
going,
because
he's going for the tie.
because Rams are going to be playing with a lot of emotion because of what's going on in Los Angeles. So they're going to come out, I think, super jacked in the first quarter. But I think Minnesota has the advantage because of the location change. Because Minnesota kind of is like, okay, well, we're going to Arizona. Like, we know.
Do you think there's a difference? Like, nobody goes to SoFi anyway.
A lot of people from Minnesota though do go to Arizona for the winter to get away from the cold. So there is a chance that Minnesota might have more fans in attendance now than what they initially would have had, just because you have all the people that are retiring down in Arizona that live in the Minnesota area that might be like, oh, they're playing down here now, let's go.
Arizona's so close to LA. Like, I don't think that would have made any difference. Like, there's zero home.
You mean the
presence
18
in
Rams
SoFi.
fans that are out there? They may go to Minnesota or may go to Arizona.
I think you might have more St. Louis fans going to Arizona.
That's what I'm saying. In Minnesota, whether you're flying to LA or Arizona, that wouldn't have made any difference at all. Like,
I think this ends up being. I
it's
think
a away
Minnesota.
game for the Rams.
I think Minnesota wins it in overtime, but I think it's a 3-point game. It's gonna be a good game.
It better be.
Well, we will see.
Okay.
If
Minnesota.
Minnesota makes a Super Bowl, I would hope that Buffalo makes a Super Bowl so that we could actually see the first who's going to lose the fifth and win their first.
Those would be the two matchups I would ultimately want to see. The two teams that are 0-4, or Houston and Detroit, the two teams that have never been there. Either because those would be the two scenarios where who's gonna win their first. It's either gonna be Detroit and Houston winning their first in that matchup, or Buffalo and Minnesota winning their first in that matchup.
The main takeaway is everybody wants KC to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
On that note,
Bo. Your that intuition right there it's on fire.
Yeah, that's right. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. If you are watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. You'll be able to see our interview with Matt Shepard from yesterday. We will see you all next week. Enjoy the games this weekend. Take it easy, everybody.
Later, guys.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming